You ever wonder how a small local business can even begin to compete with the giants out there? I mean, how does the corner bakery afford its own delivery van? Or how does a tiny startup find warehouse space? Well, some fascinating new research suggests the answer isn't about owning more, but sharing more. So let's get into it. This is how the sharing economy might just be the secret weapon for small businesses everywhere. First things first, let's get a sense of scale here. We're talking about small and medium enterprises, SMEs, and they aren't just a small slice of the pie. They are the pie. These businesses make up over 90% of all businesses on the entire planet. They create more than half of all jobs. They really are the engine of our economy. But here's the catch. Even though they're the backbone of everything, these businesses are up against some massive, massive challenges. It's the classic David versus Goliath story, except David is facing a whole army of Goliaths, and they're all coming at him from day one. And when you really look at these problems, you see it's kind of a vicious cycle. Just think about it for a second. Your operational costs are super high, right? So you can't afford big, expensive things like a warehouse or a fleet of delivery trucks. And because you don't have that infrastructure, it's almost impossible to compete with the huge corporations who have all of that and more. It is a really tough cycle to break out of. So how do you break that cycle? Well, this is where the sharing economy comes in. Now, we usually think of it for, ride-sharing apps or renting a place for vacation, but this research looks at it as a seriously powerful business strategy. What if a small business didn't have to own everything to actually succeed? The core idea here is just brilliantly simple. It's about shifting from ownership to access. So instead of sinking a huge amount of cash into a delivery truck that just sits there idle half the day, a business can just pay for the time it actually needs one. For managing costs and resources, this is a total game changer. And this comparison just lays it all out crystal clear. The traditional model, well, it locks you into these high-cost, inflexible assets. But the sharing model, it's agile. It's pay-as-you-go. It basically gives a small business the power and infrastructure of a big company, but without that crippling overhead. Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, right? But for it to work in the real world, you need a tool. You need something to connect the businesses that have spare resources with the ones that need them. You need a smart, efficient digital platform. The big question is, what does that platform really need to do to work? Well, after looking at a bunch of successful apps, the research zeroed in on these key features. And if you look closely, there's a thread running through all of them. And that thread is trust. From user profiles to real-time tracking to solid customer support, it is all about making sharing a resource feel just as easy and reliable as owning it yourself. So we've got the businesses, and we've got the platform. Now we get to the biggest puzzle of all. How does the platform match a business's request with an available resource and do it efficiently? This is basically the digital brain of the whole operation. Getting this part right is, well, everything. The researchers tested out 3 different strategies, and you can think of them like this. First, you've got the perfect planner. This one knows all the requests and all the available resources way in advance. Sounds great, but it's not very realistic, is it? Then there's the instant match. It makes a decision on the spot, finding the best fit the second a request comes in. And finally, you have the flexible booker. This one can put a request on a short waiting list, hoping a better match might pop up soon. And this quote really frames the whole challenge perfectly. I mean, in the crazy, fast-paced world of a small business, a system that's slow or unreliable is an absolute deal breaker. The goal isn't just to find a match, it's to find the right match, and to find it right now. It's all about balancing that perfect optimization with real-world speed. Okay, so with those 3 strategies in mind, the researchers put them to the test. They ran simulations using real-world warehousing data, and they were looking for one clear winner, the most practical, most effective strategy for a busy small business. So, which one do you think it is? The perfect planner, the instant match, or the flexible booker? What does a real business actually need when the pressure's on? And the winner is the instant match. Yep, the research found that the same-day assignment model, or SDA, is by far the most practical for these dynamic environments. Because while waiting around for a perfect match sounds nice, what businesses really need is a quick, decisive, and reliable answer. And this chart shows us exactly why. The instant match model consistently delivers a really high fulfillment rate. That means it successfully finds a resource for most requests. But just look at the processing speed. It's so much faster. In a world where time is literally money, especially for a small business. This mix of high reliability and super fast performance is just unbeatable. It hits the perfect balance. So this brings us to a really interesting final thought. For centuries, business has been all about out-competing everyone else, right? But what if the future of competition, especially for small businesses, isn't about having more, but about sharing better? Maybe the real path to success isn't paved with isolated assets, but with collaborative networks. What do you think?